We feel we have the right to teach these to our children in our schools, to display these on the walls of our public buildings. And if God offends you, then I suggest you just consider another part of the world as your new home. Because God is always going to be a part of this world. Now with that said, I want you to understand we will accept your beliefs. And that's fine. But don't expect us to change to accommodate you.
Right.
This is our country. This is our land and it's our lifestyle. And you're welcome to become a part of it legally. But when you start abusing our system and trying to take advantage of our kindness, complaining, whining, and griping about our ways and beliefs and values, I encourage you to take advantage of one of our greatest freedoms, the freedom to leave. God bless America. And may America God bless. And may America bless God. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. John Hancock signed in very large writing his name upon that document. Because he wanted King George to know who he was. 56 men laid everything on the line signing that document that day. They realized that if they didn't win that battle, their lives literally were over. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle that we're entrenched in now all across this nation, if we don't win this battle, our lives as we know them today could very well be over.
That's right.
The nation that we know and love and that many of you have fought for will never be the same. Evil is powerless if the good remain unafraid. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker today is Senator Trip Pittman. Senator Trip Pittman was elected to the Senate in 2007. He's a graduate of the University of Alabama. He's the owner of Pittman Tractor Company. He served as lieutenant in the Alabama National Guard. He and his wife Lynn are members of Fairhope United Methodist Church in Fairhope. Please make welcome today as he comes to the platform, Senator Trip Pittman.
Good afternoon. Happy birthday, Barry. I'm honored to be here today on our 233rd birthday to celebrate with you the efforts by our founders and those men and women at that time that actually started the greatest country in the history of the world. And the reason we're here today is to try to make sure that that great country that was started then continues for ourselves, our future, our children, and our grandchildren. And I'd like to say that I'm honored to have been asked to speak today by General Gene Lorado, and you have Mike Matthews. We have a lot of people that have organized this. I think you can't realize how difficult it is to try to put together a function for all of us to be able to come together and enjoy and spend time with our fellow patriots. So let's don't forget to thank these people that help organize. Because organization is the fundamental key to anything. I think the success on the founding of this country showed what people that were committed and willing to risk their lives for a better future for us. They could never envision what we have today and where we are today as a result of the efforts. And a lot of those people, they led by example. And that's the only way that I know how to lead. You lead by example. And I think way too many times we think that it's something complicated in leadership. It's something that's too many movies, too much publicity, and too much something totally exceptional, but it's not. It's basic. It's blocking and tackling. It's getting out and doing the things that are important. And what are important in this world today are very fundamental. I believe it boils faith and family, if you take care of your family, you raise your children, and you impart your values to your children and grandchildren, then that's what it's going to take for us to continue to be successful and to make sure that those values survive. And I think what's happened is over time, we have taken good values and we've not rewarded those values. You've got to have consequences. We all suffer consequences based on your child. If you make a mistake, of course, you have the discipline that your children, your parents put to you, your grandparents. And what happens when you get into the world now, the political world, so many times people get rewarded for things that is not good behavior. If you get rewarded for bad behavior, you get more bad behavior. You don't get the good behavior that you need and what you want to aspire to and what you want to lead, what you need in order to be successful, not only as an individual, but then as a country and as a nation. And that's where we are today. I want to let people know kind of where I come from, because before I get on the national scene, some of the things that I think we need to do going forward, and I'm glad to be here today to have the opportunity to express that. I'm a businessman. First of all, I'm a father, a man of faith. I'm somebody that had tremendous interest in government. I remember watching the elections back in the 60s when my first recollections are of Nixon and Humphrey. And of course, followed that, read the books. I remember the first book I read, I guess patriotic nature, was Nathan Hale. The statement that Nathan Hale made before he was 6 to be hanged as for a spy for the revolution was, I regret that I have but one life to give for my country. And I think we got Colonel Frazier here, we have a lot of men that have served in the military, and we forget what it takes to maintain, first of all, to have initiated this country, and what it takes to maintain that liberty and that responsibility. Freedom's not free. It's a lot of people willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. And going forward, that's what we're going to need to do if we're going to restill the values and make this country what it is and maintain it for the future. But I raised a lot of love, a lot of patriotism. I went to the University of Alabama. It was, as Mike said, I participated in the ROTC program. I received my commission as a second lieutenant upon graduation. Went on active duty for training. At that time, fortunately, there were no conflicts where my services were needed on the battlefield. And after serving 5 years in the Guard, I stepped out of the Guard and went on the inactive Ready Reserve. I had started in the construction equipment business. I ultimately started my own business, Pittman Tractor Company. I'm right over in Daphne, Alabama. And I was running my business and being involved. I've always tried to help candidates. I think sometimes we try to complicate things. We have to remember the fundamentals. You have to find good people that are willing to run for office. It's very important at all levels of government. You know, I think sometimes we forget how important the planning boards and utility boards and city councils are, county commissioners, the legislature. We have to get good people at all levels of government to serve. And if you can't run yourself, if you can't serve yourself, then you need to support people that you believe in. You know them personally, you know their conviction, you know their integrity, you know their heart. And you need to get behind and support those people. You need to support them with your time, getting out there and going door to door for them, standing on the side of the road, holding up a sign. You need to support them with getting out there and speaking for them to other people that don't know them. And then you need to get behind them financially. I think that's a big thing that we forget about politics now, is there's a whole political class out there. In Montgomery alone, there's 600 registered lobbyists. In Washington, there's thousands of lobbyists. And these people are there, some of them with good causes, many of them with good causes, but all of them trying to utilize government to their fair advantage, to do something that we're not there trying to, we're here, you know, raising our families, going to work, doing the things that we do every day. But because of the size of government, people are up there trying to utilize the government and get favoritism or special advantage by the process. And I think we all have to realize that. So it's important to get good people, independent people, people that are going to stand up for your values, to get behind them, to contribute to their campaigns. Because what happens is these other groups do contribute to them. It's very easy for them. They come to you after you get elected. I know when I first ran, I didn't have any people offer me any money. All the money went to some of my opponents. And they were good people, but they had this money, and I had to raise it for my family and friends. And it turned out that was a good thing. Because people would ask me, how can you be different? And I came to me, I said, I know how I'll be different. Because I'm not going to take